What up, random rockers and Schmoedown fans? It's definitely time for Schmoedown Rocks. This show basically where I pretty well recap and give out my thoughts and what had happened within this past week in Schmoedown. More so with all this being essentially the continuation of round 2 of the Anarchy team tournament. The Anarchy themed team tournament, with Cinemaniacs, the team of Mighty Matt Nost and the William the Beast Bibiani, who is the current singles champ, with a former tag team champ, up against Who's the Boss. Still think Sage Steel would be a better name, but it's growing on me now, especially after this match. And the way Ben handled using the name. Ben Bateman and Mark Yodi Riley. A former champ and a future champ that, well, needs to, hopefully through this team, will actually get somewhere. Who knows if they may actually become the team that wins going into the finals. I don't know. With that, though, this was just all over, was probably one of the more interesting and entertaining matches. His boss just coming out as usual to probably one of the better Metallica songs off of pretty well one of the better, if not the best album Metallica's really done, even though everyone else will say Master Puppets, but that's here nor there. It's here nor there. I prefer Ride the Lightning, and of course, not to mention, given that technically it's actually a bass riff, not a guitar riff. With rest in peace, Cliff Burton. Anyway, always fun to see them come out, and it was definitely clear in their pre-match interview that they are definitely showing that they're all able to get along, as opposed to Cinemaniacs, where things have started to go completely more on, especially with Matt Nost not technically liking Emma Fyffe trying to promote the Shire Wolves. That was not a good idea. Though I'm not sure she cared as much since she has the Shire Wolves. Anyway, it's the fact that Cinemaniacs managing to go as far as they are at the moment, and that they can work together as a team when they actually try to, but it definitely was falling apart, and it was clear from even the get-go that things were going to work out. And it was always fun that he was, at least seemed like he was kind of trying, but not really. Him just coming, like, with Emma and William coming out with the lavish interest, and just him just being like, whatever, just doing a weird white man jig, I guess, maybe, if anything, or just acting like he is, and then just taking the ball and being like, shh, and just popping air in it out, just acting like he's having fun with the rest of it. It was a good little contrast thing, and just the whole time Matt Nost had a few things said that was just killing it. More so his rhetoric towards Bateman's remarks in one of the matches, and he says, just the way he remarks, good one. We're worthy of a gif of the many Schmoedown gifts that have been happening over the past couple years since this has become a league in and of itself. And yes, and even the post-match interviews were kind of fun. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm not really for, but yet I'm not completely against the possibility of Bibiani joining Fife Club, depending on how things are going with Odd Couple for Andreyko anyway. So, and plus he's starting to become a little too likable for a heel, though he is, but that's kind of here nor there with that. I'm not sure, even though I'm still hoping things with Critically Acclaimed could still work out, even though Self-Righteous Brothers was, even with their round 1, despite not winning, was really nice, especially on Whitney Seibold's side of things. So if him and Critically Acclaimed can get together and make something work, plus it all depends on how things go with Bibiani in his championship, and if he's able to defend his championship title against John Roca, which I believe is coming up this Friday. And this coming Tuesday being the end of round 2, which we'll eventually get to that next week. All that next week. This week, with that, I was off on a few other liners, especially the whole pimple on my ass thing, because Roca twice went through both interviews. The first one to kind of sort of promoting top 10 and also kind of trying to promote do his little thing for the promo with Bibbs, given their match this Friday. And then him kind of getting involved just to kind of promote the possibility of Founding Fathers possibly beating Corruption and going into the semifinals to face Who's the Boss. Given the fact that of course, they won. As I was expecting. Who's the boss? Of course. Hashtag Action Army. And hashtag where's the belts? Where's the fucking belts? But anyway. Loved that. That was awesome. That was probably the highlight of my week. Sadly, it kind of went to a close given the certain follow-up round 2 matchup and what I was afraid would happen given the circumstances that had transpired through Facebook and, post a match with what was Evil Geniuses and now is Harris Brothers. And yes, the chemistry between the two of them was probably going to work. They're brothers for heck's sake. They'd find a way to make it work out. And Jonathan didn't do too bad. And it's clear that he acts more hipster than professor, but somehow it matches well with, but it's same equal level of sort of schnob. So it blends well with what Lon Harris is doing. So it almost seems like it could be a sort of a better team, but not as interesting and dynamic. I mean, it's kind of, you could kind of compare it if we're going by bands. You could almost compare the way Evil Genius is to the Harris Brothers being sort of like Peter Gabriel and Phil Collins era Genesis, I guess. I mean, Peter Gabriel was somewhat considered better and is still a good singer. Phil Collins, obviously, coming off the kit to sing and be the front man for a long while, even though most people who know of Genesis primarily know the stuff he's done with Phil Collins fronting the group, and not so much when they were more of a pop rock band as opposed to a progressive band through Peter Gabriel, whose solo career eventually was more on the pop side later on as well. So that's kind of here nor there with that kind of thing. But that's kind of what I get out of that whole Harris Brothers thing. And then, of course, them up against Tate Cannoli, which I really was hoping Tate the Cannoli would manage. Hoping that Drew McWeeny had it in him for championship run. But I was afraid things were going to happen the moment round 2 questions were starting to have some stumbles for Drew McWeeny. Even though he had the luck of getting the category he wanted, the questions, on the other hand, weren't the case. It was bound to eventually happen with how many times the 80s categories come up already through Above the Lines luck, through their team tournament run last year, and their eventual inevitable win that they would have over finally taking away Patriots' undefeated streak and any chance of them getting the belts back, and then retiring themselves until Shire Wolves finally got the title. And of course, Breanne Chandler, who's the original team with Stacey Howard, and from whichever thing she's done on Popcorn Talk, I guess, or used to, or something. I wish I remembered that team name, which makes me sad. 6 Degrees. There. Now I remember. Sorry. All right. Keeping that in anyway. And instead we had her recent fight with Shire Wilson with the whole Sick in the Head thing. That team, that's kind of short-lived, and hopefully, and the guy that she partnered with, I was fine with, but she wound up with a better partner going into this, which would have been Clark Wolf's partner had Shire Wolves not been successful in their title defense. So that worked out well, and plus, Marquis wound up, I'm trying to remember the manager that was in Viper Squad, that was involved in Intergeekdom for Viper Squad, didn't do so well there, but she's doing really well managing, I'll tell you what. Even maybe more so than Jay, but that's neither here nor there. I think he's an alright manager. I just think his luck, given he's been up against Fife, Emma Fife with all that stuff. Anyway, so Faith having to lose to Finstock, I mean, that is a bummer, but Finstock's loss shouldn't be on the expense of Ben nor Riley, so let's not, I'm sorry. That shouldn't, but it had to happen. And Finstock's words were surprisingly kind of funny, but he somehow makes it. He's such a despicable character, not to mention, I mean, he wears a freaking mustache, sock, cap mask thing. It's always ridiculous. Poof. Jeez. But it sucks, because Take Only had such a great debut, and now it just hurts to see them lose. It hurts to see them lose. I'm just hoping that hopefully within next year they do come back as a team. That's one of the teams that come off of this tournament that I want to see moving forward. Harris Brothers probably could, though I still but I still would like to see Evil Geniuses anyway in the future, even though I'm still kind of pissed about that whole ordeal. Sure, we had that with Heroes, but it was still Team Heroes, regardless of the other people that were involved. That was Alana Schnepp or the other guy was still there. It was still Team Heroes. So Evil Geniuses, they couldn't have. It's a shame we couldn't have found a partner to keep the team name under Evil Geniuses, and understand they had to because of the chemistry, because of it being his brother, and it just made more sense to call them Harris Brothers, I guess, and whatnot. But. It's still, and it just bothers me if this team moves forward and it winds up on the coattails of their win against Wildberries with JT instead as a partner. And that's what bothers me. It bothers me about it, even though we shouldn't be penalizing Lon at all. He definitely played a huge part in that match with Wildberries for sure. But so did JTE. I'm not sure who's the stronger player between Jonathan or JT or Little Evil, but it's whatever with that. It's kind of a shame what happened with that part of the matchup. I do believe, speaking of the whole, and it was, that's one that bothers me. But I'm just hoping Take the Goal moves forward, and especially given the gimmick that Brienne's been using, Tech the Cannoli. And I love their entrance coming out for Logan, because that was like my top film, so that was interesting. So having Brienne kind of getting McWeenie to try to bring out some showmanship or something. They work. I feel like they worked pretty well as a team, even though maybe not nearly as thorough as how he was with Levine, but he could have had a far worse partner. In fact, he actually did kind of have a better partner. Would have had a better partner than Brienne, which didn't happen. But Brienne was definitely an excellent choice, and plus she has some experience going into championship type matchups. So both of them seasoned off of one actually having gone through 3 championship matchups, winning 2 out of the 3, and the other just, unfortunately, not such good luck, but not really much if you have a partner that hasn't played Schmoedown and you get him right into his championship match. You're lucky if you can even make it to even round 4 and not wind up stumbling like what happened with the Top 10 versus Patriots 3. That one was just upsetting and that disappointing. Ugh. That was just rough. But that round 4 wasn't too bad compared to that top 10 one. But Sharewolves definitely earned that championship for sure. But yeah, overall, I liked the matches we did get, I guess, despite my clearly still mixed feelings about Harris Brothers. Let's just say I'm hoping Odd Couple takes him out. Or at least, because it seems like that team is definitely, there's something there with Odd Couple for sure. And I'm hoping to see Odd Couple, I would love to see Odd Couple versus. I think at this point, I would prefer to see Odd Couple versus Who's the Boss. Which is, as far as the finals, instead of Harris Brothers in it, so. fingers crossed with that. Of course, that all depends on who's on that if who's the boss beat either Corruption or Founding Fathers, depending on who wins from that match this coming Tuesday. And I think that's kind of about it. That match is definitely one I'm looking forward to, as well as, and of course, it's the week of Roka, so definitely be somewhat wearing this hat in stride, even though I'm more an Action Army dude. In fact, the only Action Army dude wearing this hat that maybe Andrew Guy might like, that Guy and Bateman might actually like. I mean, I'm Facebook friends with them, even though they hardly talk, but yeah. It's here nor there with that, I guess. So, what did you guys think of these matches for round 2 thus far, this past week? Leave a comment below. Let me know. As always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. If you smell what the movie trivia Schmoedown is cooking.